Oh, the gambling gods giveth and they taketh away, guys. And we saw it again the past 48 hours. Friday here at the site, just about every single handicapper, with the lone exception of Trace Adams, either had Texas A&M, Corpus Christi as the home dog getting the cover against St. Peter's in the championship game of the College Insider Tournament, or they had Wyoming in a double-digit home blowout of Coastal Carolina in the title game of the College Basketball Insider Tournament. But yesterday, with the exception of Trace Adams, who had a 2,000-star double-year wager winner on Oregon, and Anthony Red, who was on the Ducks as well, all the basketball handicapping selections here lost, going down in flames with North Carolina and with Gonzaga. And that's the way the cookie crumbles, and that's why they call it gambling. And it just goes to show you everything is cyclical. Now, the other thing that I will say is, if you bet the games the way I have always encouraged you to look at them, well, yesterday's games, yes, they were big. They were the games you were waiting for all week. Those were the games that everybody was watching. Hell, nobody out there can tell me one player on Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, St. Peter's, Wyoming, or Coastal Carolina. Not one single player can you identify. But those games, they were every bit as bettable and winnable as the games yesterday. And in my book, they were easier to win because the odds makers were focused and had the sharpest numbers on yesterday's games. And I always say you concentrate the most where the odds makers concentrate the least. And that's why I've always maintained over the years that the Super Bowl, Monday's title game, yesterday's Final Four action, any championship game, it's just another game. Now, I know that I am preaching to the choir, trying to convince you out there otherwise, that you should bet the game just at face value. To me, for example, yesterday, I lost a top-rated 15-dime play. I think I was going for number 16 out of 24 in college basketball, and it was on North Carolina. But to me, that was no bigger than the 15-dime winner I'd won the night before on Texas A&M Corpus Christi, or the 4 of the 6 or 4 out of 5 15-dime best bets I had won in college basketball since last Sunday. It was just another 15-dime top-rated play. And that's why you have to be so careful when you're gambling. Because I think, much like the Super Bowl, the same thing will happen on Monday night. Guys that have not been betting since the Super Bowl will come out of the woodwork and suddenly say, hey, I'm going to bet the title game. Those are the gamblers that often find themselves in over their heads because they haven't been playing consistently, and they are the ones that will often make wagers with money they don't necessarily have to afford to lose. And that has always been the problem with gambling. You get guys that come in out of the cold, they suddenly make a bet, and they've been out of the game too long. And it's like I say about the Super Bowl. Again, there are 3 types of gamblers. There are the guys that are betting consistently from day one of the football season and right through the Super Bowl. Those guys generally know what they're doing. There are the ones that were betting early in the season, and then they dropped out because they suffered big losses, and they're coming back trying to get all their money back on the Super Bowl. And then there are the ones that, hey, it's the Super Bowl, I got to bet the game. They're the same people that watch the Kentucky Derby, even though they don't give a damn about horse racing because, hey, it's the Kentucky Derby. Number 1 type of gambler knows what he's doing. Number 2 and 3, those are the ones that often find themselves in trouble, getting themselves often in a financial abyss from which there is no escape. And that's, again, why you have to look at these games as just another game. It's no different than any Mid-American Conference game in the middle of November on a Tuesday night. It's just another game. So keep that in mind for tomorrow's action. Now, today is baseball. It's all about baseball as far as I'm concerned today. And let me tell you, after watching those 2 games yesterday, I don't even know if I care to watch Gonzaga, North Carolina tomorrow, let alone, bet the damn game. Matter of fact, I thought about, maybe showing up all in black today after the disaster that was on Saturday. But instead, I decided to brighten your day and wear the brightest tie that I had in my collection and the brightest shirt that I could find in my closet. So that's why we are going with these bright colors here on this beautiful Sunday morning for you. But again, it is opening day in baseball. It's all about baseball as far as I'm concerned for the next 3 weeks. Let me again tell you that the opening 3 weeks of any season is the only time we have the advantage over the odds makers because they absolutely are clueless. They have no idea what to expect from the pitchers and the teams any more than you or I. We have the advantage. These are going to be the softest numbers you are going to see. Happens every single year, every single sport, the opening 3 weeks of any season. And it starts today in baseball. Baseball is the easiest sport to make money in, hands down. It also takes the most patience. It's the one that you've got to be able to stay in for the long haul because it's a season long. I should say it's one that will be a season full of streaks, good and bad. But that's the beauty of baseball. You can lose the first 3 days of the betting week and boom, you can get it right back because you got 4 more days right there in front of you. And you're saying, yeah, Al, every single betting week has 7 days. But baseball is different because when you have teams playing 3 and 4 game series, when you have teams playing 6, 7 days a week, well, that allows you the repetitiveness, that allows you the patterns to develop, and that makes baseball so much easier to win money in. Baseball's the easiest sport for me to make money in. I've always won money in it. You will find guys like Chris Jordan, tremendous money makers. Brad Wilton, the winningest baseball handicapper in terms of dollars won here at the site since he came on board 3 years ago. Trace Adams has done well in baseball as well. Myself and Brad Wilton probably are the winningest guys here in baseball. So again, if you look at our home pages, the individual handicappers, and you look around, you'll see how the various guys have done in baseball over these various time periods. And as I said, there's only 3 games today, lots of NBA games as well, but I'm going to focus on baseball, and that's where I'm going to give you your complimentary plays here. I've won 15 of the past 19 years in baseball. So I've won a lot more than these sites have even been in business. So let's get it started here. First game, I'm going to take a look at the St. Louis-Chicago game, which is your night game, the 8:35 nationally televised game. It's John Lester going against Carlos Martinez. John Lester last year against the Cardinals, 2-0 in 3 starts with a 0.87 earned run average. Now, in 2015, when he was more of a hard luck loser, he had a 2.59 earned run average in 5 starts against the Redbirds, but his record was just 1-3. A couple of things I always look for pitchers coming out of spring training, how they performed in their final 2 to 3 outings of the spring. Also, are they a strong April performer in the past? Some guys are just slow starters. Some guys don't like the cold weather. Some guys don't heat up until the summer approaches. Well, Lester, last year, 5 April starts, a 1.83 earned run average. Another thing I always look at is the splits, how guys do home and away. And this is a good indication here, John Lester. Last year at Wrigley Field, 15 home starts. He personally went 10-2, his earned run average 1.74, and opponents batted just 183 against him. But outside of the friendly confines, well, he was 9-3, but his earned run average was 3.17, still a very good number, okay? But a hell of a lot more than what his home earned run average, 1.5 runs more than at home, and opponents hit 240 against him. Still a great number, but not near that 183 mark at home. Carlos Martinez did not fare well against the Cubbies last year. 1-3 with a 4.80 earned run average and 5 starts against them a season ago. I like the way he finished spring training strong, though, against Washington and Houston, working 5 innings in each of those outings, giving up just 3 hits in each of those starts, giving up a total of 2 runs over those 10 innings, striking out 5 and walking only 2. Now, Martinez came out of the gates like gangbusters last year. 4-0 in 4 April starts with a 1.93 earned run average. Cardinals, of course, have revamped their lineup. Cubbies, well, you know what they did last year. Tonight, it's a virtual pick'em game. I like the Cardinals in this game. I like the Cardinals plus $1.10 in this spot, St. Louis to draw first blood. But the play that I really like in baseball today is the earlier afternoon game, and that is going to be San Francisco. A little heavier price, minus $1.30, but I have no problem laying that with Madison Bumgarner at Chase Field in Arizona against Zach Greinke and the Diamondbacks. You know, spring training was extended this year because you had the World Baseball Classic, which I don't think anybody cares about. But listen, it was a longer spring training. Well, you know, Madison Bumgarner made 7 spring outings, okay? 2 of them in February, the rest of them in March. In March, his 5 outings in March, he had a 1.23 earned run average. In 22 innings, he allowed 13 hits. He struck out 22, and he walked 3. His last start, was last Monday, pitching against Cincinnati. And the Reds aren't going to be any good this year, okay? 7 innings, 9 strikeouts. I'd say Madison Bumgarner is ready for the regular season. Why didn't I make him my best bet today, and instead I chose to use the Yankees and the Rays as a top-rated 15-9 best bet? Because I looked at his splits. 9-4 with a 2.14 earned run average and 17 home starts last year. Opponents hitting 195 against him. He made 17 road starts. Opponents only hit 228 against him. Okay, still a good number, but the results weren't there. 6-5 personal record, 3.39 ERA. But again, I still like him here because he's always dominated Arizona. He's made 3 straight opening day starts. 2 of them have been against Arizona. He is personally 2-0 in them the past 3 Aprils with a 2.25 earned run average, and the Giants have won all 3 of those games. The Giants have absolutely owned the Diamondbacks in Chase Field, going 9-1 against Arizona a year ago in Phoenix. Arizona, of course, going with Zach Greinke. What a joke that was with the big money they spent on him last year. They certainly didn't get anything out of him. He was not the guy who was such a dominant pitcher when he was with the Dodgers the previous 2 years. He followed the money, and the success did not follow him from LA to Arizona. 4.37 earned run average last year. 5.50 ERA in 6 April starts. And then I looked in his final couple of spring training outings. His last 2 spring training starts. One was against the Cubs. He worked 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs. He struck out 4 and he walked 3. The next one was against Seattle. He worked 4 innings. He gave up 6 hits, 3 runs, no strikeouts, no walks. This is not the Zach Greinke that we saw with the Dodgers when he was vying for the Cy Young Award, when he was one of the top 3 pitchers in the National League, with Clayton Kershaw, with Madison Bumgarner. That was the guy who had high strikeout totals, rarely walked anybody, and had a hits to innings pitched ratio that was superb. That Zach Greinke is nowhere to be found. I didn't see him in spring training. I didn't see him last year for Arizona. Now, Arizona has reconfigured its lineup, okay? And the Giants certainly have had to reconfigure theirs as well after that second half swoon last year. But in this game, I have no problem laying the 130 with the Giants and Bumgarner. Again, San Francisco would be the better of your 2 free selections for Sunday. I wish you well, guys, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow for that little championship game when we do this all again on Monday. Good luck, everybody.